my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, it's a Patreon pick, and it's our good friend and supporter, Helen. She picks a classic, Dave. One that has been on my list for a long time, and I've sort of, every time I'm going to pick it, I'm like, do I put it on, and I haven't. So I'm quite happy, again, that one of my sort of peripheral picks has been chosen. So this one is from 2000. It's Christian Bale's sort of breakout role, Dave, and it's an absolute cult classic, American Psycho. So, Dave, what do you remember about this one?
So I remember seeing this advertised at the time, but it wasn't really my sort of movie. I mean, the trailer made it look almost like a slasher movie, you know, very much on the horror side of things. And so I think I was probably going through my phase of like not wanting to watch any horror movies or anything. Yeah. And so I kind of missed out. And then I just filed it away and forgot about it, to be honest. So the first real thing that I remember Christian Bale from is the Batman movies. You know, that's the thing that I associate him with. And then it was only later, and I think I've only watched this, I would say, within the last 5 years. You know, it's been one of those films that everyone talks about, and it's like, all right. And it almost, the more people go on about it and how great it is and stuff, you're like, oh, fucking hell. It almost creates a barrier. It's almost like, oh, I don't want to watch it now. It's a weird thing where your brain's sort of almost sabotaging you from watching great movies. But yeah, I remember watching it, and I guess I wasn't really that sure what to make of it, watching it the first time, you know, because I had no background really about what it was about. I didn't pick up on a lot of the satire things from it. I was just more horrified by the violence and the gruesome nature of it all. But I think the thing is, it's one of those inescapable memes now, isn't it? I say that as if there's just one. This movie is so memeable. A lot of the facial expressions that Bale does, you just see. You only have to scroll, you know, for a little bit on whichever platform, and you'll see something from this movie. So I feel like I've almost watched it more than I actually have. But what about yourself, Chris?
Well, you know, it's funny because I went in my collection to watch it, Dave, because I've had this DVD for years, and then realised that I had trimmed down my DVD collection, and I think I give it to the charity shop. So what an absolute bellend.
Oh, no.
It actually, what God's honest truth, it actually was one of the first ever DVDs I bought when went from, like, because I always collected VHSs at the time. So this would have been around 2001. And I got American Psycho, Fast and Furious, and there's another, and I still got Fast and Furious. There's another one as well. There was 3 movies I got. It did sound roughly like, maybe, I don't know if Love Films were out then, or Britannia. It was some sort of Mr. Smith delivery, Dave, to my house. But they honestly, it was one of the first DVDs. And I remember watching it with Sam, and she's like, this is fucking ridiculous, because she hates The Matrix. She doesn't understand it. I remember sat there and my jaw was on the floor with The Matrix, like, this is the greatest movie ever. And then she just looked at me and went, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, we're getting divorced. You know what I mean? I was so upset with her when she said that. She still don't understand The Matrix. But with American Psycho, similar reaction where and I remember thinking, well, I think it's great. So I went and bought it on DVD. But I don't think I've ever watched it more than once. So I think I've watched it at some point, maybe from Blockbuster, bought the DVD and never actually watched the DVD. I never watched the film again. So it's been nearly 25 years since I've watched it. But I do remember the scene. The one scene that always gets it's the memeable scene. It's the one where he's with the 2 prostitutes and he's flexing. And I remember, I can't even say this, Dave, without getting fingered. But there's certain times where I don't even know if I can say it. You want to do that in the mirror, Dave? That's all
don't
I'm I haven't got that body, but you know, like that flexing thing. I just remember at the time thinking, that is fucking class. But even we got to the gym and all my training, there's no way I've ever looked like that. Christian Bale is in elite
my
shape.
word.
But I remember at the time going, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Fucking floppy hair, flexing the fucking bicep while he's fucking having a bit with two women. Fucking brilliant. I mean, I was about 20 odd, one or 22, 20 minutes came out, but I just it's
So
one of
it's
them
like
things
the
that
dream.
yeah, the dream. I was married that day, so the dream had gone by then. But it was one of them things where you watch it, and I thought, and it's never left me that scene, like just how cool he was. But then also watching it again, thinking, shit, this. I remember how like dark and there's a sinister side to the movie and the Patrick Bateman character. But yeah, that is just like proper cinema iconic, and it made Christian Bale, didn't it? Despite people and all of the pushback he had. Leonardo DiCaprio was in, and then he eventually pulled out. It was Bale originally won it, and there was so many production things reading up on it, which is like, again, he was so adamant he wanted this role, and I just like, now, no way fucking DiCaprio could have fucking pull that fucking movie off, especially in the shape he was in, Christian Bale, because he apparently he was like that on set. The American accent, everything. It was one of the movies that always fucking stood out for me, for Christian Bale, and why he became Batman and everything. I just think, yeah, it's an iconic movie, but like I say, it's really stuck with me for 24, 25 years, that scene. It's fucking brilliant. It's just so silly.
And the way he sort of transforms his body as well, because obviously he's done this one, and like you say, the shape he's in for this movie is unbelievable. But then a few years after this, he does The Machinist, where obviously, you know, to an unhealthy level, slims himself right down, all that muscle goes, and then he bulks up massively for Batman.
Yeah.
And, you know, people quite rightly, you know, talk about Hugh Jackman and the dedication he has when he gets into shape for the Wolverine movies and stuff. But I think Bale is up there as well, isn't he? If you look at that sort of transformation, I think the thing is with Jackman, you know, he never did the opposite thing, did he? He never got rid of all the muscle. You know, he would have not been in the shape for the movies, but it's not like he's trying to just waste away all his muscle and just make himself look half-starved, or half-starved, fully fucking starved. But yeah, so I was quite impressed with the shape that he was in, like I say, because I guess in my mind, I was, without thinking too deeply about it, until this rewatch, I was thinking, well, you know, he probably just got himself into the shape for the Batman movies. You know, I know, you know, for The Machinist, going from that in 2004 to Batman Begins in 2005, you know, it was a massive transformation. But the fact that he was already in that Batman shape before makes it even more impressive for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think The Machinist, he went from The Machinist to The Dark Knight Rises. I'm pretty certain it was in between, obviously, The Dark Knight, and then...
So The Machinist was 2004, and Batman Begins was 2005.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was later. Oh, bloody hell. And he looks terrible in The Machinist, so my God, he's terrible in it. But you're right, his shape and everything in this is sensational. But yeah, honestly, I've been looking forward to this for, like, say, 5 or 6 years we've been doing the podcast, but the fact that someone's picked it is brilliant. So I'm sort of... watching it again, I'm like, I can't wait to talk about it. So, yeah, no, we're good.
Well, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
I think my mask of sanity is about to slip. If you stay, something bad will happen. Sabrina, why don't you dance a little? Christy, get down on your knees.
Can we go now?
We're not through yet. I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane? Do you have any witnesses or fingerprints?
Actually, yes.
Very nice.
I don't want to get bruised.
You're inhuman.
I know my behavior can be erratic. I need to engage in homicidal behavior on a massive scale.
Hey, Paul!
So what do you do?
I'm into murders and executions mostly. I have to kill a lot of people!
In 1987, investment banker Patrick Bateman spends most of his time dining at popular restaurants while keeping up appearances for his fiancée Evelyn Williams. At a business meeting, Bateman and his associates flaunt their business cards, obsessing over their designs. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, it's really dark, innit? I mean, I know what, like I picked Equilibrium, which was a couple of years after this, wasn't it? A completely different movie. You know, it's basically The Matrix, but the camera colour and the hue seems very similar. Like it feels low budget, doesn't it? Like there was a $7 million budget because they had no faith in this production at all, did they? You know, he'd read the book Bale and he was like, no, they cut so much out of it when DiCaprio pulled out of the movie and that. But I think I just fucking love like the haircuts and everything. Like Christian Bale's haircut is not far off the sort of haircut I had mid-90s. I had that floppy hair. It never probably looks as cool as his, but it always looks. His hair just doesn't really change in a lot of even the. It's like the Batman haircut, isn't it? Really, what he's got in this, but. I think his performance is fascinating in this. I really do. It's the fucking card thing, and they're looking at the cards, and it's like, oh, look at the fucking letter in there, and look at the, you know, and he's got this on, and I'm like, that is like a level of arrogance, a level of like rich, where you were fucking procrastinating over something and trying one up each other. Like, I just think that the characters are so well put together. Like his circle of they're not friends, are they? Like you say, he hates them all.
Associates, really.
Yeah, I think what's fascinating me watching it this time is like it feels as if it's almost me in some respects. Certainly not with the two prostitutes, Dave, or anybody.
Or the vicious murdering.
Yeah. No, but you know when you're at work when. People are just being utter fucking cocks. And Patrick Bateman's a knob, by the way. I'm not saying he's the hero of the movie. He certainly isn't. But, you know, when people are there and you're thinking, if we weren't in work, I'd have fuck all to do with you, or I'd be telling you to fuck off. But you can't, can you? And then you do get the dick measuring thing, don't you? And that's what this is, isn't it? They're all going on and who pays the bill, and everyone's rushing to pay the bill. And I just think there's so many layers to Bateman as a character that even coming away watching it this time, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm here for the journey again because I think Christian Bale, like, he's got to be one of his greatest characters that he's played. I love him in Batman. He's my favourite Batman, as you know, but I just feel that it's 24, 25 years old. And really, other than them picking the mobiles up and stuff, like the big car phones, it's not really aged. It's still relevant. It's like The Office. We love The Office, Ricky Gervais. And there's people I talk to now who have started watching it all these years later, who work in offices, and it's fucking relatable. Technology's changed, but the same stupid arguments, the amount of... I mean, I've got a manual job, but when I first left school, I wanted to do a manual job. I ended up working in offices, doing admin at the airport and Manchester Airport and all that. So I had to be a fireman, electrician, all that stuff. But the amount of people I've come across who work in offices who have to justify that they're macho because they're working in an office pushing paper around or whatever. You know, I do kickboxing, me, or I do, you know, like, whereas a guy who's a builder or
feel attacked.
Well, oh yeah, sorry. Anyway, moving swiftly on. No, but I don't mean what I mean is like it's fucking hell. That's a terrible thing. There, you'll be listening back to this going, you fucking wanker. But what I mean is, you
talk
don't
about
do that.
His own podcast.
Yeah, fucking hell, I'm digging a hole. I can feel the spade digging a hole. What I mean is, I've always come across people who've worked in offices. And because they've always worked in offices, like that thing from years ago, like, you know, blokes work on the street, you know, the like the navvies or the road workers, the builders, you know, like, I don't know about you, but maybe it's just the way I was brought up in like the Irish cafe thing. But like, if you worked in an office, there was always a thing at parties, like different families, like the ego thing had come out, or friends. Oh, fucking, you know, look, you got the calluses on your hand or whatever. And I feel in this, the working in this dialogue that Bateman says, he says something about some guy when he's secretary, he's going on about, yeah, I've done boxing with him and all this. You know, one of them, like, they're trying to be dead manly and macho, aren't they? When really they're quite clever people working on Wall Street, and there's nothing wrong with whatever job you choose in life at all. But it's like a bygone thing of like, you know, like when, I suppose a bit like going to war, World War II. Anyone who didn't go to World War II, conscientious objectors or whatever, they were slated because the women run the country and all the men were at war, weren't they? Or they were too old and all that. But there was always that thing like, why didn't you go to the army? Why don't you join the army? I'm explaining this terribly, but what I mean is, I love the fact that they're all trying to act dead macho while they're sat there with the fucking platinum cards, having manicures and fucking, you know, these training regimes and that. I find it fascinating, but I've come across people like that, but I also feel like he's in a monologue of just wanting to fucking absolutely fucking not sit there at work and want to fucking go on a rampage stabbing people, but just that thing of like, oh, just fuck off, you know, like and we all probably get like that at work, and people probably think that about me, but you know, just something you just like. That is like, I think everyone's inner fucking monologue is just sometimes you just want to shout in someone's face and go, ah, and then you come back in the room and you're going, yeah, all right, yeah. You know, they're telling you a story, but inside, you see it in movies, don't you, where you'll see someone just chin someone and you think, fuck me, what's happening? And then it'll pan back to them just sat there and it's like an inner thought and they're like, right, yeah. And I don't know about you, but this movie feels as if it's my inner fucking thoughts at times with people, Dave, which is probably quite worrying what he does. But, yeah. I know I've explained it terribly and totally offended you there with your kickboxing, but there you go. That was not my intention.
As you were rambling on through there, you just uncovered a latent memory that I'd sort of long forgotten about, talking about The Office and stuff like that. Now, for my first, I'd say, professional job, you know, I had like part-time jobs and blockbusters and stuff like that, but going into the proper full-time job workforce, I remember getting sent off. There was 3 of us that joined around the same time, and you get sent off for a medical. And I've never had it for another job, but like a proper full-on medical, you sort of got sent off to the doctors for that. I don't know why I've had it in no other job, and I don't know anyone else who had the same thing. But at that time in my life, I think I was early 20s, so I think it was quite chatty, and I was quite comfortable, you know, being plonked in any environment with anyone, and I'd just start chatting to them, and you know, I would find something to like keep that conversation flowing. And there's 3 of us, and the guy goes in, he's having his medical and stuff, and then you know, there's a woman there who's waiting with me, and I'm like, all right, you know, and you've just joined it, yeah, and so what is it you do like outside of work? And she goes, medieval reenactment. I was like, oh. I just remember that moment, and I was like, I've got nothing. Literally, absolutely nothing. And I think probably what would happen, I just, wherever I wouldn't say it's a party trick. Now it'd feel like a party trick because I'm a miserable fucker. I don't want to talk to anyone that I don't know. But, you know, at the time it felt like almost a party trick. I can find anything, you know, to get this conversation going. And yeah, I just remember thinking, I've got fucking nothing. So I'd probably have more questions now, but like Dave in his early 20s, when faced with medieval reenactment, had absolutely nothing. But Chris, what I love about this movie is it's obviously, you know, made and released in 2000, but it's set in 1987, and it had me thinking back to that time of yuppies. You know, and it's all that yuppie culture. And again, it's one of those ridiculous things. I can't remember which year it was, But I remember asking for Christmas for a Filofax.
Get out. Fuck
I
off.
must have been like
Get out.
fucking I must have been about 12 or something. I had no idea what I was going to put in there. But I guess just this constant brainwashing on the TV. I must have been, I don't know, 12, 13. I must have been coming out, feeling like coming out. I must have been coming out of that stage where I want to play with toys, and for some reason I'd just been brainwashed into thinking, well, I need a Filofax. And for me, there was it wasn't like for a purpose. It wasn't because I had to fucking schedule meetings, and put them in. I just liked the look of them. It was almost like a gadget, and it had all these different sections, these little color coded bits, and So actually, you've uncovered two latent memories there. But yeah, the whole fucking yuppie culture and absolute toxic masculinity, like you say, all the fucking dick measuring about the embossed fucking business cards and whatever, and they keep getting mistaken through the movie, don't they, for different people, because they all wear the same shit, they've all got the same fucking haircut, and so they're all almost conforming to this yuppie ideal, but they want to differentiate themselves. And then this constant thing where they're trying to get reservations at the top places, like these Dorseys and whatever. It's just, I honestly, Chris, I fucking loved it watching it this time. Whereas I think I was probably just not focusing on it. When you watch a movie and you're watching it because we're going to talk about it, you watch it slightly differently, don't you? Whereas when you sort of, I don't know, scrolling on your phone, you're kind of half watching it. You're not really critiquing it, but I think just trying to understand it a little bit more that coming in this time, it really got me straight off the bat.
It did with me. I'm with you. Maybe it's just we're older and you're a bit more fucking wiser to how many bell ends there is out there. And that includes myself at times. But it's that, you're right, it's that dick measuring thing. It's that whole world that they're in. Like, say, the same haircut, the circle of people. He hates Reese Witherspoon, his missus. She's having a bit with someone else. He's telling everyone, he's basically narrating to us, that he's seeing this other girl. And she's seen someone, Evelyn, and all this. And it's like everyone is just on a different level. But it's when he comes to see Paul Allen, and he's not in it for that long, really, is he? What I mean? Jared Leto, he looks the same as him, doesn't he? And he's talking about him. That fucking scene. Again, another memeable, the fucking Huey Lewis one. Yeah. And he's got a fucking proper white fucking plastic suit on. And he goes, "Hey, Paul." And he just fucking, apparently Jared Leto didn't even know about the chainsaw, did he, in the production? That's actually a real reaction. So they had him going at him. Obviously, they said on the thing he's hitting like a plexi thing on the camera, and apparently the effects people were throwing blood on him as he was doing it, which is really good. It's not supposed to hit his face, but it did. However, that is a bit like the Alan Rickman in Die Hard when he falls off the stage and they just let him go on purpose. His first ever movie, and they're like, "Fuck that!" There you go. And that was a genuine reaction, but I forgot that happened so early in the movie. But again, it's so iconic. Like, I just love it. "Hey, Paul," and he just goes, "Meow," and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" And he's a despicable person, the way he treats his fucking secretary. She absolutely fantasizes over him, doesn't she? And he's just horrible. And I find that the world, for a movie that's on for like an hour and 40, it builds a really quick and almost claustrophobic world that I'm in from the start. Like, it is, honestly, he's brilliant in it, Bale. Like, I can't say enough good things about his character. I love the fact that he's just horrible, and his expressions when someone does him wrong, and he's trying to pretend that he's not bothered, and he's like, "Yeah," he wants to kill him. And there's a few bits where I said that you'd read in the monologue, and he goes to get someone, and it's all in his head. But yeah, that bit with Paul Allen, and the fact that then it introduces Willem Dafoe again, even though he's sort of a goodie in it, you're still going, "It's the Green Goblin. He's going to be a baddie. He's a bastard, but he is just a copper who doesn't even. Patrick, we're seeing it from that. I think the way they've produced it and the way they put it together is he's just asking Bateman some general questions. We know as the audience at this point he's killed him, but he just hadn't in his head. Defoe's the investigator, Donald Kimball, he's not even thinking of Bateman, is he? He's just asking for some information. They just think he's done a runner sort of thing at this point. It's really well made, I think. And I think the paranoia comes across really well in Bateman's character.
Yeah. And I think, that scene is so iconic, isn't it? Like you say, with the Huey Lewis thing. And I think this time I definitely picked up on the comedy a lot more, and it's how he goes into that monologue as if he's reading a music review out of the NME or something.
Yeah.
And I've got it here. The early work was a little too new wave for my taste, but when Sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically. Like, it's not a natural conversation. It's like he's repeated something he's read. But I can see it now. I can see him pointed at it. And when he does the little jiggle, when he's...
it's fucking iconic, isn't it? It's fucking brilliant, that jiggle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's such a brilliant scene, and Jared Leto's there, and it's the fact that he's so wasted he doesn't realise he's sat right there in the kill zone, with all the papers just around him. He sort of says, "Oh, have you got a dog or something?" And it's like, "Oh, why are you wearing a fucking splash-proof Mac kind of thing?" So yeah, just absolutely brilliant, and the way he's almost doing the moonwalk, isn't he, to hide the fact he's got the axe, and so yeah, just absolutely brilliant scene. And I'd forgotten Jared Leto was in it. I forgot he was playing Paul Allen. So it is great. And what's the guy, Chris? You remember the old TV show, the Incredible Hulk? What was the guy, the reporter? Yeah, so Bill Bixby was or David Banner, as he was called in the show. Jack McGee. That's it, yes, Jack McGee. So Willem Dafoe's character, he just really gave me the vibes of Jack McGee, where he's asking the questions and he's there to be the reporter, to give you that bit of peril that he might get caught, but you never particularly feel like he's got a clue.
No, you haven't. Even, I mean, I'm not jumping too much, but even the bits when he's fucking sweating and Defoe knows something is slightly off, doesn't he? But he's not completely convinced. But yeah, I mean, after this bit, you get the two fucking prostitutes. You're going to be Kristen Sabrina, and and he's like getting them ready, and he's saying, "Do you want to know about my job?" And the blonde one's like, "Not really, not that bothered." And he's fuming, isn't he? And obviously we get the whole scene then, but it's just like, what's really strange is with the movie is, even watching it now, I still come away from it and I'm sure you've got a different interpretation of like the ending and his character, but like, he's not a hero in it by any means, but he's also like, you sort of feel sorry for his surroundings. It's almost like he's a creation of these people. He doesn't want to be a knobhead. He doesn't want to be like, in this world, but he has no choice. It's almost like he's been bred from being a kid. He's probably gone to Harvard or whatever he's doing. And then he's there in this world with his absolute narcissist. I mean, I saw one of the guys, one of his circle, he's the guy out of the Incredible Hulk, isn't he, with Eric Banner. He's the one who the Hulk throws through the house.
That's where I recognise him from.
Yeah. Name. He's been in loads of things, hasn't he? But I just remember, because this would have come out a couple of years. The Hulk came out a couple of years later. But yeah, he's it's just bizarre. It really is bizarre. It's just such a good character.
Yeah, I mean, he's the protagonist, isn't he? But without being the hero. And I think watching it now, I'm thinking, well, and again, my memory timeline is off, but when did Dexter come out? I kind of feel like you wouldn't have Dexter if you didn't have this movie.
Yeah, 100%.
that idea of making the serial killer your central character, making him slightly sympathetic, I think it just wouldn't have happened. And you mentioned about the novel came out, I think, 91, so been out 9 years or whatever. But there's a bit of a weird parallel. So Spider Dan and Tony were discussing Less Than Zero a week or so ago, and the novel was written by the same guy, so Bret Easton Ellis. So he'd released that novel in 85 when he was about 21 or something daft like that. And so 1987 film. So we might touch on that, but it sounded like there were a lot of grim themes in that as well. So bit of a weird connection with the author, but I'm certainly left thinking, how the fuck do you come up with this? It did seem to break the mold of movies that I don't know of anything else, not as famous as this, that broke the kind of mainstream that lots of people obviously went out to see. And I think it's probably more successful on DVD, wasn't it? It made 34 million at the box office, which probably isn't a massive surprise because it's a little indie movie, R-rated. Well, it wouldn't have been R-rated, it'd probably been X-rated in the US, wouldn't it? And 18 here. So yeah, just really interesting parallel there.
But you know what, though, Dave? It's funny because we don't align these things on purpose, but that is a good thing as well. And I'd give that a listen, their podcast. I mean, I don't even know who this author is. You know me, I'm fucking terrible. I don't read anything. But is that based around this sort of world, or is it just a completely different character, world, everything?
I'm on the precipice here. I'm on the edge of my understanding, but apparently I do think, don't know, but this author does kind of have everyone in this shared kind of universe, if you like. So Patrick Bateman exists, I think, in this other universe as well, or all in the same shared universe, I should say.
The same. That's interesting. It's a bit like Thinking It Nobody 2's about to come out, obviously with which is fucking brilliant. You've seen Nobody, haven't you? The first one. With,
yeah.
Well, the second one, obviously, that's supposed to be in the John Wick world. That's the whole point of it, apparently. So whether the second one links it a bit more, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see the hotel, but his character is, and it's made by the same people or whatever it is, but there's a link there to John Wick. So that's quite interesting because he's like a one-man machine as well, isn't he?
Right.
But anyway, totally segue. You know what I'm like, Dave, going off on one. But I do think back to Bateman. I do think like when he's like you can clearly see that gay guy. He's gay. The ginger-haired lad. He's not with that girl.
Yeah.
You can clearly see. And what I love is it feels as if like this is where I want to talk about like the movie and how I feel about it. I feel this scene, for me, my interpretation of this movie is very, very important to what I get out of the movie, because they're in the bathroom, aren't they? He's camp as anything. You can clearly see like he's gay, and he fucking puts his hands around his neck with the gloves on, doesn't he? But the guy doesn't interpret. So I feel as if Bateman's inner monologue, inner feelings have overtook what's actually going on, and he's obviously going to kill him. But he puts his hands around his neck, and he can fucking. He's like, oh, Patrick, I knew, like whatever he does. But it's just like he feels that there's something there, doesn't he? And it completely takes out this absolute murderous psychopath. And he's like, then you're going down the route of like, well, is he actually gay? Is this the whole thing of his character? They don't really go into that, but he completely loses it, doesn't he? He loses all that fucking energy of like wanting to kill him, and just he's like disgusted. He's washing the gloves. He's got the fucking leather gloves on, and he's washing them because he's touched this guy who sees it as an advance, and then he just storms off out of the restaurant. And honestly, that scene for me, and I'll talk about the end, that is what sort of cements what I feel the character's about. And it feels like his inner monologue has took over for that split second, and then he's gone, oh shit. And that guy then thinks he made an advance at him, which is fucking brilliant. When he's doing the old phone thing, call me. And fucking Bale's expressions, it's his facial expressions when he's got his hand around his neck, and the guy's seeing it as an advance, as he's trying to kiss him, or he's trying to fucking have a sexual relationship with him, and then he's like, no, I was going to kill you. This isn't what I wanted, and it just completely blows my mind, that scene, because I think Bale's acting is brilliant in it.
Yeah, and as it gets through the movie, he gets increasingly disturbed and disheveled, doesn't he? I think that's the brilliant bit about his performance. But I mean, I don't know if this is a thing in public bathrooms or whatever, but surely if someone is even if they're gently placing their hands around your neck with fucking black gloves on, it's not quite the reaction I think I'd have. But not even I'd have, but I think most people would be like, what the fuck's going on? But yeah, it does. It sort of takes him out of it, doesn't it? And I think a lot of this movie, I mean, sort of almost getting to the end, I did go off on a bit of a rabbit hole about, looking at what the director's view of it was and what have you. And at the end, it's almost conclusive, isn't it? That, this was all in his head. Whereas apparently, and I've not read the novel, but apparently the novel is much more grey about what's real and what's not real. And the director had said, well, she sort of regrets that ending because it makes it almost conclusive, that it looks like it was all in his head, but it's not supposed to be that. Some of it is supposed to be grey, and you're supposed to be left wondering, well, which bits were real and which bits were in his head. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the bit in the bathroom scene was funny, and like you say, washing his hands with the black gloves on there. And the thing is, they're all obsessed with what each other's wearing.
Yes.
So he'd have noticed, that he's suddenly got these fucking black gloves on, which are probably fucking Armani or something. They're probably not just from Primark or something. So, yeah, the fact that he's got these black gloves on, it makes it a bit unbelievable what that guy's reaction was.
Yeah, it does, to be fair. And I think, and you were saying about Armani, again, in the trivia, there were sponsorships by like Rolex and everything else, but they wouldn't let Bale's character talk about them. Other people could, but he says don't touch the watch, and even the suits. They had like Calvin Klein underwear they pulled out because of his character, and it's weird. But what I love, Dave, is this next bit when he's got the two prostitutes again. And he says like she's and obviously we get the whole fucking psychopath bit, don't we, with the chainsaw and everything. Yeah. It's the fact that in between takes, Dave, and that took more than one take, Christian Bale just hung out with everybody with a sock on his cock and his pair of trainers and just hung around the fucking set. And now that is fucking method acting. And I love the fact that at the rap show, and people said this about Batman, I think he's got one of the best American accents. At the end rap show, when they were together, the actual cast thought he was in character for another fucking part because he spoke English.
Yeah.
And they were like, he was that convinced.
Wales, isn't he?
It's Wales, yeah. Well, yeah, English, sorry, yeah, Wales. United Kingdom, sorry. But I've seen people say that about him when he did Batman. I think Tom Holland's got quite a good American accent. I think in the first Spider-Man, it's a little bit too hard, but then he's settled into it. But yeah, his American accents, and obviously I'm not American, so maybe like Tony or someone might say, Chris, it's fucking terrible. But I feel like you can't tell that he's English. There's no like English dialogue, and on set he just spoke American. I've seen that in Batman. When he does Batman, I've seen like the behind the scenes stuff with Heath Ledger and that, and he's speaking American, and you're like, this is fucking strange. But yeah, I think because he's a method actor as well. That scene though, when he chases her with the chainsaw, fucking hell, is he maniacal, Dave. That is a brilliant scene when he's running down the corridor. Yeah. Bare arse and a pair of trainers and a chainsaw. Fuck me.
It is haunting, isn't it? And, I think even getting to that point, the tension was built up really well. I think because you obviously don't know what happened. There were a few killings and stuff off camera, weren't there? You sort of he had the model's head in the fridge, and you saw him talking to her earlier in the movie. And when he's talking to the blonde one of the two models, and you know, you can see she's just not sure about, you know, should she go with him, and she said she had to go to the doctors, or she had to go to the hospital previously and whatever, and you think, what the fuck happened? And I think building up to that moment, and then he's in bed with the girl who seems to be like a long lost friend or something, you know, not just a prostitute that is kind of randomly pulled off the street, but he starts stabbing her and she fucking legs it. I thought that whole scene was brilliant. But when he drops the chainsaw, you know, down all the flight of stairs, I must admit at that point I'm thinking, because I could remember a little bit about the twist. I'm like, is that fucking real? I mean, the chances of that,
I know,
are pretty slim. And also, he's running around this apartment block, you know, with a fucking chainsaw, and no one's just like, I mean, I don't know, if I heard a chainsaw outside, I'm not sure I'd just stick my head out and be like, Homer Simpson, hello. You know, but you would think someone would come out and like, what the fuck's going on? So that all seemed, for me, I'd put that in the prime suspects of not being real.
Yeah, because I'm with you, because the girl runs out and she is fucking screaming, isn't she? Quite rightly. She's knocking on doors, no one's answering. But I do love the bit though. And when he drops it, I mean, I've just watched The Jackal, which I think is absolutely outstanding. That and The Penguin, absolutely outstanding. I've watched over Christmas. Two brilliant shows. And he is literally a killing machine in it. But there's some things he does in it you can understand because of the training. Well, Christian Bale's got this chainsaw and the fucking mathematics on it. It's like, I don't know whether that works because he drops it. She's not even in the position where it gets her. That's what I find really strange. But the next bit, when he fucking looks into the camera covered in blood and he just does that angry fucking like psychotic face, is brilliant for me. But then I must admit, the end bit, especially after this, it goes a little bit. It goes a little bit fucking Die Hard, dare I say, or it's bizarre, isn't it? You know, that he goes to kill a cat, the fucking woman comes, he kills her, the cops come, he gets the car, there's explosions everywhere. That bit with the explosions it does take me out a little bit because it takes it away from the character. He's very grounded at this point, and then it goes full action hero bit, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Does that sound silly? But that whole end bit before we get to like it's just really bizarre to me.
It does almost seem to change into a different movie, but again, the way I interpreted that was it's another hint at the fact this isn't real. I mean, he basically he's a yuppie, right? So he's not a clean marksman who's come out of the military or something. He's a yuppie. So, but he's getting off clean, perfect headshots and stuff. Now you could say, well, they do that in The Walking Dead, but you know, different show, different sort of thing they're going after. And then the fact, you know, he just hits one bullet into the car and it blows up like you're on the set of Commando and he's John Matrix or something. So I think that was intentional to make it look even more unbelievable.
Possibly. You know what? That's a good point because I did think that headshot that he does in the office thing is ridiculous. I was like, fuck me, he's Martin Riggs here. Like, he's just absolutely just straight in the middle of the temple. So, you know what? That explains it because I'm with you. I know, like I've said it a couple of times, but I feel that it's all this whole movie, and I thought it the first time I watched it, and my mind hasn't changed. This whole movie's about his inner thoughts, and he's just got this mundane, boring life, which is all about status and, like you said, about the credit cards, the best restaurants, you know, being with the best people in these clubs and everything. And really, his fucking life is shit because when he does the whole confession to his lawyer. And then he meets him and he's like, it's a great prank. And you're like, no, I fucking killed people. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, great. And he's looking at him. And then he says about Paul Allen. I killed Paul Allen. I went, I had lunch with him 2 weeks ago. I've had lunch with him twice, in London. And he's already said this to Willem Dafoe, hasn't he, about him being in London and all this stuff and that. And it just settles my mind, whereas I know there's another side of it saying that there's another theory that his friends, because they lived in this world, it all got covered up by them. But I don't buy that. I just buy that he's a very lonely man in a relationship with someone he doesn't like, and this whole thing is just played out in his head. Because that bit when he goes to the house, to the apartment, and that woman's just like, just get out. Just get out. He completely flips the movie. I wasn't expecting it the first time I watched it. And watching it again, I'm like, yeah, it's all in his mind. There's no other way. And looking at the different theories about it, there's no other way than people covered that up. That is just, I do not buy that at all.
Well, like I say, I think the movie does make it conclusive, even though the director didn't intend it to make it conclusive. I think it is. But I did see a theory which was, well, basically the guy's lawyer thinks he's had dinner or lunch or whatever with Paul Allen. But throughout the movie, they're always mistaking people because they've all got the same fucking suit, the same haircut, the same glasses and everything. So he's thinking about Paul Allen, whereas actually he had lunch with someone else. So that's not inconceivable. The fact that, again, the some of these murders were real, but some of them were in his head as well.
Yeah. Well, that's a good... Yeah, I didn't think of that. I thought the whole thing was a ruse. And you're right, because I did read that about the names that people didn't know, because he gets slated at one point, Bateman, doesn't he? And he's like, Patrick Bateman's such a dweeb or whatever he says, or a dork or something. And he's fucking him in it, and he's like, oh, yeah. But I do feel that the movie at the end, I'm sort of satisfied with his character and the way everything goes, but that little action sequence is just ridiculous. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because I did pick up on the gunshot. I was like, fuck me, he's unbelievable shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that probably makes more sense now you've said that. But yeah, I do take away from it that it was all in his head. I really do. And he's just living this mundane life on Wall Street that he doesn't want to, basically doesn't want to live in more than anything. It's just really boring. So he's created this fantasy world.
Yeah.
Gets him through the day.
Well, Chris, should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So Helen, thank you so much for picking this. I'm so pleased we've done this. What a film. It's ridiculous. But I think Christian Bale is absolutely outstanding. He really is. And I was trying to think where I'm going to score it. I feel like the supporting cast, I think Reese Witherspoon's good in it as well. She's sort of not really praised a lot, but I think her character's really good in it as his sort of partner who he fucking hates. And I think she hates him. And the very small segment we get with Jared Leto is just iconic for me. Like say, the whole little shimmy go-go he does, the little twist of the hips with the outfit on Huey Lewis is fucking brilliant. The scene with the two prostitutes, the end bit with the blood and the chainsaw when he does drop it down the stairwell is just brilliant. So I think I'm going to put it in Pleasantville, Dave. I was looking at Hall of Justice. Fucking hell, that's comes emotion. Hill Valley, that's a blast from the past. But I genuinely think it's just too good to put in the middle. It's just such a good movie, and I'm really pleased that we've done it. And it's just the cast are excellent in it. I think everyone just plays the part really, really well. Other than that weird action sequence, I think that's what's taking me putting it to the top. But it's still a great movie. So, what about yourself?
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's a great movie, and I'm right there with you as well in Pleasantville. I think I don't know why critically I would say I'm going to pull it down. I don't think it's the best movie I've ever seen, but I can't really find much fault in it. There are some things where it's of its time, some criticism about how it is fairly misogynistic, but I also think that's sort of what they're going for, this toxic masculine world that they're in. I just think it's it's intentional that it's misogynistic. It's right on the nose. It's definitely playing up to that. So I think it's just the gore sort of, it'd be something for me to put something so gruesome to the absolute top, because you finish the movie, you don't feel fucking good about it, do you?
No.
It's like, you don't just, I fancy a pick-me-up. I'll put The Revenant on. You know, it's just like, you know, I kind of want to think about the movie and like enjoy it and have some sort of good feeling at the end, not feel fucking terrible after. So, yeah, but absolutely brilliant. So memeable, you know, Bale's performance, you can see why this was his breakout role, you know, in retrospect. And I know he'd done loads of stuff before that. And Empire of the Sun he did in 87, you know, so I kind of want to go back and watch that, because I watched that at the time, but you know, I wasn't watching it thinking, oh, that's Christian Bale, future Batman, like. So I want to go back and see that. I have watched Newsies, which he was in, which is a bit more of a musical. And so that was pretty good as well. But yeah, for this one, absolutely amazing. The shape he was in is unbelievable as well. You know, you can see he properly put himself through the ringer to get into that. But yeah, absolutely amazing. So thanks for that, Helen.
No, brilliant. So Dave, it is a Patreon pick. What have we got for next week?
Well, you know, I talked about Less Than Zero, and Spider-Dan was discussing with Tony there. So for next week, Chris, we actually have a Spider-Dan pick. Now, I don't know, can you see the calendar there?
Dave, I've seen the calendar, and this may be my jumping off point for the podcast going forward, because we have got... Fuck off. We have got Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. So let's get into the trailer.
Well, you say let's get into the trailer, Chris, because I wanted you to feel that moment, because I wanted to enjoy you thinking, fuck my life, I can't believe it, I fucking hate Star Trek, I don't want to watch this. Don't know if you remember, we obviously did Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Khan. Yeah. But I was thinking, well, you know, could there be a worse movie than that? You know, to make you want to jump off the ledge? And the answer, Chris, is yes. I think there is. Now, what could be a worse movie than Star Trek 3 to watch that Spider-Dan might pick?
Star Trek 4?
Well, no, Chris. This is a different sort of movie for which there is no trailer. But we did. It is a sequel to a rather infamous VHS Patreon pick.
Not necromantic, is it? No.
It's absolutely Necromantic 2. Now, like I say, there is no trailer, but there is a fan-made trailer which I will play through for you, so we can both enjoy and look forward to that one. So let's get into the real trailer. Why? Oh, dear. Straight in there.
What is going on?
I'm not particularly looking forward to it.
No, I am not looking forward. Is this on YouTube like the first one?
Oh, probably. I haven't looked actually.
She's not digging him up. Oh, no.
That happened at the end of the last one, didn't it? And the first one, she dug him up.
Oh, what is going on here?
Oh, dear.
Fuck me. We need to have a serious chat here. What is going on here? It's terrible. Music's terrible. Hello and anything else.
Music first one.
Oh, it's forever the love story, Dave. Jesus. My God. I don't even know what to say. I don't know why rather watch this than Star Trek. But either way, this is hideous. Oh my God.
It's horrendous. So hopefully, if we can get everything lined up, Spider-Dan will join us next week, and we'll enjoy
I bet he
walking
will.
through that one.
I bet we will. Right. Anyway, if you do want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at vhsstrikesback. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honour and a massive thank you to everyone on this list, bar maybe Spider-Dan after what he's going to inflict on me, but we'll see next week. To Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lily Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So amazing stuff. Spider-Dan's done me there completely. I am actually looking forward to recording with Spider-Dan because we haven't done anything with him for a long time. So that'll be good fun. But there's no way he's convincing me to send it anywhere to the top, Dave. But yeah, boy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you haven't seen it yet, so
yeah. Unbelievable. Right, Dave, what song have you got to take us out with? Because I can't wait for next week's song now either. Oh my God.
Well, fucking hell, yeah. I fucking watch it myself, despite my glee at dropping that one on you. But so Chris, like I say, we're in yuppie culture, so we're in 87 or late 80s. We get lots of references to Huey Lewis and the News, to Phil Collins and stuff like that. I've gone proper Depeche Mode, so proper 80s synth with a little bit of a nod to so Hip to Be Square was the song that's played, but also referenced within the movie. So this one is Hip to Be Scared. Great bass line.
Oh, yeah.
With a morning cleanse, exfoliate, then continue with friends. I got a Walkman and 1,000 yards to spare. But hey, check out my skincare. I took my hands where I'm dead inside. My suits are sharp, but my hobbies divide. Some guys do got some collect fine art. I prefer ripping people apart. It's it to be scared. It's it to be scared. I'm slicing through life with style and flair. It's it to be scared. Can get away with anything when you got this stare. You got a nice car, but mine's embossed. You're just a pawn and I'm your boss. Reservation, sorry, you're out of luck. Got the dossier, I couldn't give a fuck. I play old Huey Lewis when I'm in the zone, but my victims won't hear the saxophone. My hobby's a niche, my ice is clean, and my freezer's my fur, and it should be seen. It's it to be scared, it's it to be scared. I'm slicing through life with style and flair. It's it to be scared. Can get away with anything when you got this hair. Everyone's fighting, that's just fine. You're on as empty as this head of mine. The words are choked and the punchline's clear. pass it through life with style and flair. It's shit to be scared. Can get away with anything when you got this hair. I'm Patrick Bateman, king of the scene. I'm on it glad, not mouth the American dream. It's hip to this member. It's hip to this member. It's hip to this member.
Very good. It's proper Depeche Mode, that, Dave.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, hip to be scared, which is kind of me thinking about next week's movie to review. So, there we go, Chris. But anyway, thank you very much for today. That was a lot of fun to go through. Thanks to Helen again for the pick. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go.
Ain't so bad! Ain't so bad! Ain't so bad! Come on! Ain't so bad! Ain't nothing! Come on! You must be crazy or something! I'm crazy! You just a stupid fool! Maybe you crazy something! I ain't breathing heavy! He's a fool! He's stupid! I'll see you in 6 months!
I must break you.